From Inc.com, this is the Inc. Productivity Tip. Expert opinions, valuable insight, and helpful advice from today's top business coaches, thought leaders, and entrepreneurs. Want to be more productive, creative, and focused? Well, oddly enough, science says the key is to take more microbreaks. Now, hard work matters. To paraphrase Mark Cuban, effort is the one thing you can control. Intelligently applying that effort is next on the list. Now, for many of us, our only real competitive advantage is our ability to work harder and longer than other people. But maybe not too long, at least at one time. According to a meta-analysis of more than 20 studies published in PLOS One, microbreaks, which are defined as no more than 10 minutes in duration, boost vigor, reduce fatigue, and increase overall performance. How much a small break can increase your performance really depends on the nature of the task. So, if a task is highly depleting, an example would be, writing a book, a longer break may be necessary. If a task isn't highly depleting, maybe responding to emails, a study published in Ergonomics found that recovery benefits can result from microbreaks as brief as 27 seconds. Another study published in the Journal of Environmental Psychology found that 40-second microbreaks are sufficient to improve focus and increase task performance. Clearly, recommendations on the effective length of a microbreak tend to vary, as well they should. How depleting the task is, your overall mental and physical fatigue, the emotional nature of the task. As with many things, your results are going to vary. But what is consistent in the type of break you should take? Now, the PLOS One meta-review found that taking work-related microbreaks, say taking a pause from writing a book to go check your email, results in decreased well-being and increased negative mood. On the flip side, physical activities like walking, stretching, or even just standing up, looking out the window, and letting your mind wander results in decreased fatigue and increased positive mood. Relational activities, like checking in with family or friends, or chatting it up with a colleague down the hall, boost energy. Watching a short video results in increased recovery and performance. In short, if you want a micro break to increase your energy and boost your focus, you have to take a break from work. If you can't take a break, then what you do needs to be as mindless as possible. For me, checking email still requires focus, thought, and attention. Doing a little bookkeeping does not. Planning what I'll do tomorrow takes thought and focus. Straightening up my work area does not. If you absolutely have to stay work busy, do things during a micro break that get you up, get you moving, and require as little mental effort as possible. That's especially true for boosting creativity. Whenever divergent thinking, free-flowing, spontaneous, non-linear idea generation is required, taking short breaks improves your ability to think outside the box. So does letting a problem marinate. A study published in Psychological Bulletin found that you tend to benefit from setting a problem aside for a bit and then coming back to it. Add it all up, and taking a 10-minute break every hour or two won't set you back. While those minutes may feel lost, you'll more than make up for that time by being able to work harder, smarter, and more creatively when you re-engage. Micro breaks are not an indulgence. They are a competitive advantage. Because how many hours you work will always make a difference, but the quality of what you get done matters just as much. Whether you are a sports fan or not, you should be paying attention to what's going on with the Los Angeles Lakers, not specifically on the court, but what's going on behind closed doors, because the LA Lakers have a succession problem, and every founder should be paying attention. Jerry Buss built the Los Angeles Lakers into one of the most iconic franchises in sports. Almost half a century later, a fight between his children over what happens to his creation offers a lesson that extends far beyond the basketball court. The Buss family is divided over the proposed sale of its remaining 17.8% stake in the Lakers to a group led by Josh Kushner and Bob Iger. 5 of Buss's 6 children support selling, while Jeannie Buss, the CEO and controlling owner of the LA Lakers, does not. Her attorney contends the transaction cannot proceed without the approval of the family trust's co-trustees. This disagreement threatens Jeannie's position as the Lakers' governor and the final connection between the franchise and the family that has owned it since 1979. There is plenty of debate about who is right, but the better business question is what the disagreement reveals about succession. Founders spend years thinking about what they want to leave behind. They spend almost no time considering what happens when the people inheriting it no longer agree on what protecting that legacy means. The Lakers are more than an asset that has been sold twice in less than a year. It's a franchise intertwined with the Buss family identity. A company like McDonald's is sentimental to various generations. The Lakers operate on another level. The Buss name has been connected to Showtime, Hollywood, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, 11 championships under family ownership, and nearly half a century of Los Angeles culture. However, shared history does not always guarantee a shared future. Jeannie has spent years operating as the family's most visible steward of the franchise. Her siblings had made the decision that selling the remaining family stake and moving on is the appropriate decision. Jeannie does not share that outlook, and her lawyer is challenging whether the family has the authority to complete the transaction without her approval. Neither position requires someone to stop caring about the legacy their father built. This is where succession can get sticky. Founders naturally think about who should run the business after they're done. There should be equal time spent thinking about how disagreements will be settled when that successor's interest eventually conflicts with those of other owners. Who takes over? It's an important question, but another crucial issue is what happens when everyone who takes over wants something different. The Lakers make this tension impossible to ignore. Jerry acquired the franchise as part of a larger $67.5 million transaction. The latest proposed ownership deal values the Lakers at $12.5 billion. At this level, a family business means something entirely different. There's emotional value in remaining connected to something your father helped build. There's also a profound economic argument for turning an inherited stake into billions of dollars. It is a tension that exists inside thousands of less famous family businesses. The second generation might feel responsible for protecting the company. The third generation is far removed from the first and sees an asset that represents most of the family's wealth. One sibling may want to operate it. Another might have zero interest in the business while still owning an equal piece of it. Success can make these disagreements far more contentious. A struggling company gives a family fewer choices. A truly valuable one creates much more of them. And this is why founders should think beyond preserving ownership. They need structures that allow future generations to separate ownership, management, and family relationships before all three become impossible to untangle. Leadership and ownership are two separate things. Jeannie has been the Lakers' governor since her father's death in 2013. The proposed sale of the family's remaining stake would cost her this position because NBA rules require a governor to hold a sufficient ownership interest. It proves that authority inside any organization comes down to its structure. A founder might trust one child to become the CEO while distributing ownership among 4 siblings. This works beautifully when everyone agrees, but the arrangement becomes considerably more complicated when the CEO wants to reinvest, 2 siblings want dividends, and another wants to sell. The best succession plans are not designed around the thinking that everyone will always get along. They're designed for the moment they don't. Jerry accomplished what entrepreneurs spend their careers trying to achieve. He built something enduring, valuable, and culturally significant enough to survive long after him. Even with that, the best founders can't dictate what legacy will mean forever. One generation can build a company, establish values, and create traditions. What it can't do is guarantee the next generation will share those same ambitions. Founders can pass down equity, a name, and even control. What they can't pass down is alignment. That's all for today. This expert opinion was written by Jeff Hayden and Christopher Kaysen. For more expert opinions from today's top business coaches and thought leaders, go to inc.com/lead. Have a great weekend, everybody. Be sure to come back on Monday for another helpful tip or tips from Inc.